Before the crew can document anything, the ocean first defines the scale of the work. This is not a small boat or...
The first warning is not a clear view of the shark, but a vibration traveling through steel.
The force below now reaches human hands through cable, metal, and deck vibration. These American male industrial fishermen are...
Before the giant white shark is visible, the instruments begin to tell the story.
Beneath the surface, the source of the pressure finally takes shape. The giant white shark is still only partly...
The surface breaks for a moment, but the shark is not fully given away yet. That rolling flash of the giant white shark turns hidden pressure.
To understand the encounter, the story begins back at the harbor. This vessel is large enough for industrial work.
The size of the vessel defines the scale of the operation. A giant white shark will later become the focus.
The deck already shows the structure of the coming work. Every cable path, roller, and lifting point has a purpose.
Before any line is lowered, the crew prepares itself. These American male industrial fishermen understand that
preparation is also communication. The crew checks radios and hand signals now because later, when the giant white...
The winch is one of the tools that turns hidden force into controlled movement. In a research support mission, machinery...
Each piece of gear has to be ready before the ocean tests it. The lines, clamps, and tagging tools...
The industrial rod system gives the crew another way to manage angle and pressure. It is not recreational gear. It is part of...
Measurement and lifting systems are checked before the vessel is fully committed offshore. Later, the crew will rely on these.
The attractant is prepared with practical care, not theatrical excess. Every detail must serve the research sequence.
Attaching the research setup is a quiet step, but it carries the entire next phase. If the setup is careless here, the encounter later becomes...
By this point, the working deck has been staged for a sequence that must flow without confusion. The bait, the lines,
The vessel leaves the harbor, and the controlled space of land falls behind.
As the harbor disappears, the vessel is the only working platform in view.
Offshore routine always returns to safety before action. The crew reviews spacing, signals, and movement, because later, when the shark is close.
The final calibration closes the preparation phase. With the gauges set and the line system checked, the crew is ready.
Below the surface, the story enters a different world. There is no deck, no human body, and no vessel.
The deeper view slows the pace of the film. In this open water, even small changes become meaningful, because a large...
The camera holds on empty water long enough for silence to matter. This quiet space makes the coming movement feel real.
The underwater environment stays simple and honest. There are no divers, no small boats, and no invented creatures. Only open ocean.
The research setup finally enters the underwater frame and links the unseen crew above to the depth below. Its descent is steady and controlled. The setup settles deeper into the water column, carrying the intention of the crew into a place they cannot see directly.
The setup now becomes part of the underwater scene. It hangs in open water, and that simple movement may bring the giant white shark into frame.
The first sign is indirect. Smaller fish break away before the shark is clearly seen, and their reactions.
The shape becomes clearer now, but it remains measured and natural. The giant white shark does not appear as a monster.
Only part of the shark fills the frame, but the species is locked clearly in the image. The body line, fin movement, and controlled...
The shark passes without a full reveal, and that restraint keeps the encounter grounded. The camera does not need to invent aggressions.
The encounter becomes more intimate as the shark turns near the camera. Seen this close.
The shark stays close enough now that every pass changes the feeling of the scene. It studies the setup through movement rather than...
The shark is now established in the scene with unmistakable identity. The giant white shark carries power in a smooth...
The details of the shark fill the foreground, but the behavior remains believable. This is the final calm before stronger motion.
The shark begins to circle, and the encounter becomes active.
Its movement is direct and powerful, but still physically plausible.
One pass becomes another, and the circle tightens. The setup is no longer just hanging in the water, it has become the pointer.
The shark closes the distance with direct intention. Nothing about the moment needs to be exaggerated, because the natural
The water around the setup changes as the shark moves through it. The first real reaction is subtle, but it is enough to show that
the line now begins to answer the shark. What was only visible movement in deep water becomes a signal traveling upward.
As the shark turns, tension becomes more readable. The giant white shark is still moving naturally, but its direction, the angle of the line changes, and that change points the story upward. The shark has begun to turn the encounter into controlled hand.
The shark changes depth, and the water grows more disturbed. The motion is still below the surface, but it is no longer hidden in the same way.
The underwater phase closes with the shark still below, but rising through the system. The line now points toward the surface.
The first surface sign is not the full shark, but the water rising beside the hull. What began as hidden
foam builds along the line before the giant white shark is clearly seen. The crew reads this.
The equipment confirms what the water suggests. The pressure has changed, the shark is rising, and the crew now has to move from waiting for signs.
As the readings climb, the crew takes control of the next stage. Their goal is not to overpower the giant white shark.
The ocean adds its own force to the operation. The crew has to manage the shark, the weather, the vessel movement, and the cable all at once.
A new cable angle tells the crew that the shark has turned again. The giant white shark remains mostly hidden.
At last, part of the shark breaks the visual barrier. Only a section of the giant white shark.
With the shark close enough to affect the surface, the vessel shifts into controlled handling mode. Crane gear, padded.
The main handling phase begins with controlled tension rather than speed. The line is alive with...
The winch does not rush the movement. It builds pressure one controlled turn at a time, allowing the crew to work with the shark's motion.
Human timing now have to match mechanical force. The crew watches the cable, reads each other's positions.
Water running from the line shows that the controlled rise is progressing. The hidden distance between the vessel and the giant white shark is shrinking.
The shark remains under the surface, but its shape is now close enough to influence the water above it. The giant white...
The shark is close enough now that every small change matters. The crew responds in real time, using signals instead.
The pressure rises toward the first major reveal. The giant white shark is close to the surface now, and everything in the frame.
The first full-body reveal finally shows the animal completely. For a brief second, the giant white shark clears.
After that reveal, the crew immediately brings the rhythm back down. The goal is not to force another dramatic moment, but to
The line settles into a new angle as the shark changes position beneath the surface. The giant white shark is still strong and active. The shark drops just below the visible layer again, but it no longer feels distant. Its shape stays close to the hull side.
The crew now shifts from reaction to sustained control. Their posture shows that the encounter is not handled.
The operation returns to measured mechanical force. Each turn of the winch gains only a little ground, but those small gains are what bring it.
Water now records the resistance more clearly than the shark itself. The crew cannot see every movement below, but the
Every adjustment now is small but important. The crew is no longer searching for the shark. They are guiding an intent. The path of the cable matters as much as the pull itself. By keeping the line properly aligned, the crew protects. The shark now travels close enough to the vessel that its presence is almost continuous through the water. With the movement stabilized, another layer of control is introduced. The industrial rod helps manage angle and so. The rod does not replace the heavy cable. It refines the crew's control over it. At this stage, while the shark remains in the water, the deck prepares for the next transition. Crane gear and padded support are staged. Several systems now overlap in one coordinated frame. Cable, rod, crane, padded support, and crew.
The shark draws even closer now, close enough that the crew can anticipate the next surface movement.
The second full-body reveal gives the sequence its final surge. For one more moment, the giant white shark is completely visible at the surface. After the second breach, the crew immediately returns to procedure. The dramatic moment is over, the difficult work continues.
The shark is now in the zone where multiple systems act together. The cable holds pressure, the rod refines angle.
The crew now watches every small change at the surface. They are no longer only guiding a line, they are positioning a large...
The body of the shark tracks along the vessel more clearly now. That closeness helps the crew plan the rich contact.
The crane moves into the frame as the operation prepares for the handoff. Its position is critical, because once the shark...
Close-range handling begins before the shark touches any support. Secondary lines, clear deck zones, and crew...
The shark is now close enough that the encounter changes character completely. It is no longer a distant pressure below.
By now, every part of the system is engaged. The crew, cable, rod, crane, and support sling are... The encounter reaches the threshold of hands-on research work. The vessel is no longer only guiding from distance, it is...
A new balance of force begins here. The crane starts to share support with the line, easing the transition.
Even before the shark reaches the support zone, the deck has to be ready. Clear paths, controlled lifting points.
The surface phase is complete, but the research work is not finished. The shark is now ready for a short control.
At the deck edge, the sequence begins again in a tighter space.
The crane becomes central to the research handling phase. Its job is not only to lift, but to stabilize the support system.
The shark is finally close enough for documentation, but it is not settled. The giant white shark still carries force in its body.
Even in the support phase, the rod system still has a role. It helps shape angle and strain, keeping the brief handling sequence.
Small technical corrections continue after the shark reaches the vessel. Repositioning the cable keeps the support.
Communication becomes even more visible in the close handling phase. Hand signals now connect human judgment to crane movement, and every signal has to be clear.
Brody. The shark answers the transition with another strong movement. The motion is powerful but realistic, and the...
While the shark is still being stabilized, documentation already begins. The animal is not treated as a loose trophy.
Securing a specimen of this size requires immense precision. The slightest twitch from the shark could compromise the entire operation and endanger the crew.
The crane takes support in gradual steps, not one but each.
The rod still carries meaningful strain, showing that the sequence is not finished yet. The crew continues to treat every connection. Even during a strong movement, the crew does not rush in. Their spacing shows experience, because safety means...
Once the movement allows it, the crew adds a secondary support point. That extra line turns partial.
The transition crosses its most visible threshold here. With crane support, the giant white shark moves into a controlled...
When the shark settles briefly into support, the moment is both physical and procedural. Contact with the support system does not mean...
Once the shark settles enough, the rigging can be reset. Repositioning the cable allows the crew to keep the work efficient.
Reduced tension is an important sign of progress. It tells the crew that the operation is moving from active resistance.
Stabilizing the shark reduces risk and gives the crew a workable window. The crane's steady hold allows the American male...
The shark continues to move, but the important change is that the movement is contained. Control does not require complete stillness.
The first measurement begins carefully and without exaggerated claims. Documentation matters here, because research depends.
Repositioning the support is its own operation. The auxiliary line helps adjust the angle in a controlled way.
The transfer remains a conversation between people and machinery. Hand signals guide small corrections, and those corrections keep the... The shark is lower and calmer now, and water running off its body marks a clear change in the sequence.
One active control system begins to stand out. Lowering rod tension safely is part of closing the most demanding handling phase.
Clearing cable from the deck reduces clutter and risk. It may look like a simple cleanup step, but it is part.
One final crane adjustment improves the shark's support position. The crew still treats precision as necessary.
Even late in the process, the shark can still produce a final burst of force. The crew expects that possibility.
With the shark calmer, the crew adds another secure hold while keeping their bodies clear of the danger zone. This careful
Recording the encounter is part of completing the sequence responsibly. The work now moves from physical control toward.
With documentation underway, the crew prepares the shark for the shortest possible tagging window. The deck phase is nearing its.
A closer view replaces the earlier surface spectacle. In these details, the giant white shark is seen as a
Another tool leaves the active sequence as the operation simplifies.
Removing. The direction of movement changes now from close support toward release preparation.
Open water becomes the next destination again. The crane supports the animal not as cargo, but as part of a documented research.
As the shark moves through the final handling steps, the deck itself is kept orderly. Hygiene, clear footing.
The crew restores equipment as soon as it leaves active use. Coiling and checking the cable closes the loop on its status.
The rod returns to a resting position, signaling the end of its role in the encounter. Step by step, the vessel moves.
The shark is now in a more stable position than it was during the surface transition. Supported briefly by the crane and padded.
The shark can now be seen in detail without the drama of the earlier surface breach. This close view shifts the tone from tension.
Another verification step follows, but the film stays factual. The point is not to invent a number, but to show that research.
The last support cable begins to come free, and the most demanding part of the closeout handling sequence truly ends.
The encounter now leaves the close support zone and returns to the ocean that made it possible. This step may be quieter than the surface breach.
With the final tag confirmed and the shark moving back into the water, the onboard phase is complete.
Once ashore, the encounter enters a new stage of evaluation. What was documented offshore is now reviewed in a research.
The language of the deck gives way to the language of research. Here, attention shifts from cable and crane to data and movement.
The research phase completes the link between offshore labor and conservation knowledge. By this point, the shark has
After the offshore mission, preservation means protecting data instead of product. The equipment is cleaned.
Logistics now becomes information flow. The tag signal, the video record, and the handling notes all become part of a wider. The encounter is now protected inside records, files, and field notes. This stage may appear less.
The chain extends outward into future research infrastructure. The same careful system that supported the shark at sea, now.
By now, the shark is fully part of an organized research route. The journey from open water to tag signal has become a.
The chain continues when the footage reaches an education space. Here, the encounter leaves the vessel and the lab and becomes a way to express.
Arrival in the education setting does not end the process of care. The material is checked for accuracy because respect for the shark.
With the release footage on screen, the encounter is revealed in its proper ending. What began as hidden force under dark water.
The handoff into the education workspace completes the receiving phase. From here, the story becomes one of public guns.
In the final stage, the work becomes storytelling rather than force. The same respect for process seen offshore now.
The encounter is transformed through precision and restraint. Each edit reflects the long journey before it, carrying forward the disciplines.
By this stage, the shark has passed through ocean observation, machinery, documentation, tagging, release, and education.
What began as hidden power beneath the sea
ends here with the animal still alive, tagged, documented,